you got?
Peanuts.
He's got the peanuts. That's okay. I have the Smarties.
Yeah, but you have the weird Smarties.
The real Smarties.
The weird Smarties.
No, the proper Smarties. I'm sorry, you're thinking Rockets.
Oh, is that what the sweet tart type things are up there?
Yeah, here they're called Rockets.
All I know is that when I, 20 years ago now, when somebody brought me the coffee crisp for the first time,
Oh, yeah.
I was all over that shit. Turn off your task manager.
Sorry, I'm watching it because since I'm capturing every single camera, my CPU is crying. So.
Oh, gosh, yeah. May not work. Nobody move.
Anyways, we're live.
We're live!
I think you're muted still, Phil.
You can't hear me even when I push to
Nope,
talk?
now I can.
I've been pushing to talk.
Well, we're live.
Oh, I missed your
Welcome.
talk on the last one.
That's okay. Sorry.
Tonight's special guest is Randy.
Going into the freezer.
Ooh, she's getting ice cream? Let's
Maybe.
watch. This is very important. We have to watch this. She's getting ice cream. We'll never know. Just kidding. Oh, we can't hear Victor. Unless he's not talking. I can't hear you, Victor. We're too busy watching to see if your mom's having ice cream.
Probably muted because she's making noise or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
I think you just have to push to talk. Or he's muted all of us.
That sounds fair. Can you blame him? I'd mute me too, but that'd be weird.
So whenever our DM Lord is ready.
Cool.
Yes, almighty.
Right. So who wants to take the lead on last episode's synopsis?
Yeah, I think
Oh, it's
that-
real easy. It's really easy. It's dice is out. Peace. Done.
I feel like that's the DM job on this one today.
All right. All right. I see. How about Vic? No.
I'm back.
Yeah.
He wasn't here. Let's make him do it.
I honestly
So-
don't remember the last part. Oh, I remember now. We had like steampunk yetis
Ettins.
or something. Ettins, that's it.
Steampunk Ettins.
Steampunk Ettins. So you have basically deduced that the cause of the great white bear sort of rampaging and Solesk killing it was the work of the Splinterpine tribe through the use of some sort of magical circle within the bear's cave that drove it mad, because that also happened with Minchinos.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. I
who,
know what you're talking about.
who fled the cave and started setting trees on fire and attempted to set Caleb on fire.
Technically,
And
I
failed.
did.
Kind of.
Your beard caught fire. That was. I'm happy with that.
And you also killed Dices in her bird form, which honestly may be why she ran away.
I was a little hurt. Like, Crow is very important to me. I know he's a raven, but
Yeah, I was gonna say.
his name is Crow.
I think Jordan Namek, was he outside for that?
No, he was inside because he had to come out of the cave, and then Ithis held him when he was driven mad by the spell.
I think Jordan's muted.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you're
believe he is.
muted. You're still muted. Welcome to my world.
Oh,
Okay.
that's not gonna throw everything off at all.
Does it work now?
Yeah.
All right.
Turn it off and on again. Yep.
Yeah, disconnect, then reconnect. And I don't know. I wasn't actually muted. Anyways, I think I was out of the cave for that. but
Right,
I was just
yeah.
held and breaking
and
at
Yep.
the time.
and I think it was Ithis who figured out what the hell was going on. So good job, Victor.
Thanks,
Yay.
You were,
Yes, it
you
was
were
me.
awesome.
Yeah.
Totally me.
I think remove curse or remove lesser curse was what sort of brought Navik back to his senses right in the nick of time, because he was going to behead the bird.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was.
But Ithis cast hold person and remove curse, and that seemed to solve the issue.
Very
That's
good,
good.
failing saving throws.
After this, everyone kind of gained their sanity back momentarily, took refuge in the cave, while two others went to report. Who went back to Grand Mist to basically
Navik and I did, I believe.
Dice and I stayed, yeah.
right. So Dices and Caleb stayed at the cave to sort of watch out for it, and spotted some. Dices spotted people basically observing.
Yeah.
And when Chinos and Ithis and Navik got back, they decided to basically hole up in the cave to rest. And that was when the Ettins came,
Yeah.
outfitted with strange artificed contraptions that shot frost and lightning.
Steampunk Ettins.
Steampunk Ettins.
Pretty
And
hardcore.
And I
and
did
painted
take one of them.
tattoos of the Splinter Pine tribe, which was their subtlety is not their game.
And I did take one of the devices and sort of semi-mounted it on the tank frame.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think we have ammo. They didn't have ammo.
No, they didn't.
Right.
They had whatever was left.
Right. So.
During the night and during one of Dices's watches, the tiefling that she had seen in her sort of visions that acted as sort of the front desk clerk for the Raven Queen, essentially, had been following her through the mountains. Evidently, he escaped that plane in which he started to age rapidly as a result. He's no longer an immortal sort of servant of the Raven Queen. And he did this to offer Dices the opportunity to sort of shed the contract with the Raven Queen in exchange for helping him and finding Dices' sister, who has been presumed dead, but as she's learned from Henrietta and the Raven Queen, is somewhere out there still alive. In doing so, she slammed her staff into the ground, sprouted big skeletal wings, in which raven feathers molted off into the ground. Ithis cast Sanctuary on himself.
Well, he also, don't forget, he also blasted the Bartimaeus, too. He shot
That's true.
guiding bolt
Yes.
because he couldn't
That's
tell
true.
what it was.
Yeah.
And then Dices took off into the night. And I think that's where we will pick back up. So the rest of the group has been sort of roused from their sleep and sort of witnessed the exit. What would you like to do?
So can we still see her, or she's just gone?
I think that there's probably like a silhouette of big skeletal wings in front of like a massive moon.
She's got the deed. Yeah.
Roll
Just-
damage.
Yay,
Not bad.
5.
Whoa, hardcore, man.
2d10. That's not a great.
I take
roll.
half damage
Yeah.
too. So
Your heart wasn't in it.
Whatever.
She's gone.
Crap.
She's got the deed, though.
Yeah. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
She also had the last K-32 boom.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Explosive. What was it called?
Oh, I should do a fireball then. Turn it off.
Could you imagine? Oh gosh.
Bits of dice is falling.
It's raining dices.
No, that would solve the character arc.
Yep.
Hallelujah.
Just kill me again.
As opposed to just a cantrip.
An explosive exit.
So left in the cave, aside from hundreds of black raven feathers, is the four of you.
And the elder.
Right, and the elder. I forgot about the elder.
She's hiding in the tank.
Yeah, hiding. She can't move out of the tank. Yeah. So, what is your? Do you want a scene as sort of in sort of reaction to that, or do you want to sort of skip ahead to the next day?
I have no idea what's going on.
That sounds like a normal
I'm
day.
confused.
I'm just sort of like ask Ithis, like, what the hell just happened?
I have no idea. There was a figure in rags, swirling rags. I shot it because it was undead, or at least I assume some sort of monster.
I mean, it's a safe bet. And then he froze.
We lose
No,
so
no.
many birdmen this way.
This is the first time we're trying out this video thing, folks, so bear with us.
Yep.
Sorry.
We're a bunch of noobs.
Mhm. Sorry about that. I froze for a second.
Yep.
I'll repeat that.
Wait, you said it was undead. That's where you left off.
Okay. Yeah. And then the Dragonborn went insane and sprouted dragon, which is fitting, I suppose.
Huh.
So, as
Well,
she
I can't chase it.
disappears, I want to cast Locate Object, and I'm
Mhm.
going to try to locate the staff. I can't remember. Henrietta?
Yep.
Yeah. My bestie, Henrietta. Because we're besties.
So,
Yeah,
is
right.
your intent to track it?
Yes.
Pretty
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're coming in the ceiling.
Yeah, so you can actually still see Dices, and it may not be a surprise to you to find that when you cast Locate Object, it's basically pointing your sort of consciousness in the direction that she's taken off.
So I can still see her in the air then.
You can, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Way to go.
Yeah, you can hold back that spell if you want.
I expended
So
all my spells,
physically
so
see me,
whatever.
yeah.
All right.
Probably outside of 120 feet, though. Oh, well.
You guys are just determined to hurt me.
One of the other things,
We're trying to save you.
this is
Yes,
in particular something that Ithis would recognize, is that since sort of reaching the altitude that you are at, which is roughly 26,000 feet, the cold and the air is thin enough now that flight is difficult for you. So watching Dices sort of take off with wings that just shouldn't work.
Yeah,
Just skeletal wings. There's
Logic.
you would suspect that some transformation has taken place that has made her different.
gotcha.
I was always different.
Can't argue that one.
But beyond that, I think the reasoning for this, because none of you actually heard the words of Bartimaeus. So
You just think I'm crazy.
exactly, your own deductions are basically all you have left.
Right.
It's possible she's gone to pee.
I'm assuming since she didn't have the wings before like that it has something to do with the cave.
Oh, that's logical. Yeah.
Like we should check the cave for more cursed spots.
Curse.
Well, we
Is that
know where
like
the
a-
one is. We know where one cursed spot is. It's, you know.
Well, whatever happens, I'm trying to run after her now.
God.
So
Friend, back friend.
Navik's running off into the Godspur wilderness
Dices,
like,
where are you
Navik,
going?
get back, Navik! You can't fly.
at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Do you want to do anything in the intervening hours? Do you? Let me ask you this: do you
Did we
think you're
get
going to
our
get
full
a rest? Yeah, that's what I'm. So it's up to you, narratively, if you
I-
rest tonight.
I want to, but I also want to check out the cave to make sure we don't have any other problem areas.
Yep.
Because 2 people already went nuts, and now somebody just went nuts kind of random.
Hey, wait.
Well,
Two
if you
people?
can find the F spot, I think
You're
it's
not
over
there.
there.
You aren't there. You just flew away. So what would that be? So what would I do to search?
So you're trying to find if there are any other sort of magical traps.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can start with investigation.
Nah, I don't see a damn thing.
You find the chalk outline of the the one you've already found,
Yeah.
but there doesn't appear to be anything else like that.
Okay. Yeah, I got nothing.
I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
Wherever
I
Dices
got-
went to, she can take care of herself. We're fine.
I took a couple of cannon shots. I'm definitely going back to bed.
I assume
Navik,
that
you are
I'm-
running off. Yeah.
I'm assumed that I wouldn't be able to catch up to her.
She will definitely outpace you in the air, but you can actually see her for quite a while before she's out of your sight. So if you want to stay in pursuit until she's out of your sight, then you would probably get back in about 2 hours.
At which point we're all getting up anyways.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'll do that.
Did Navik have a watch this evening?
I
Or was
think
that
I
taken by
did.
everyone else?
I know I
I
took the
don't-
first one.
I took the second one.
I think Ithis actually took the third, and Dices was the last, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in either case, I feel like Navik either didn't take a watch or were supposed to take the last watch.
Probably sounds about right.
So you will get a full night's sleep, basically, is what I'm getting at. If you run off for 2 hours and come back.
His last watch is I must
Yeah.
watch Dices.
Yeah. So yeah, basically you leave the cave undefended
Great.
Dices into the night.
Don't worry, we got old man McGee here looking for curses, so
Oh man, pajamas.
You're older than I am. Shut up.
fair enough.
So the dawn eventually sort of crests over the peaks of the Godspurs and brings a crisp, cool, cold morning in your sort of snow-covered hovel.
All right. Guess we should head back to the village. We have a Etten head with the painted tattoo.
Is that like the girl with the dragon tattoo? Is that
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
the sequel?
It's actually
or-
mounted. It's actually mounted on one of the horns of that god awful thing that's really going to be rancid soon.
Oh god,
It's just a flesh wagon now.
You get a party rest.
that sounds
You do,
like
yeah.
a
Let me
porno.
Boop.
The Flesh Wagon, Part 2.
I saw that in Kill Bill.
The Flesh Wagon.
Oh no, it was called something else. I made my mistake.
Did that actually work?
Womp womp.
Alright.
There you go. Yeah, I got my cells back. I'm happy.
Interesting.
More of your macros breaking.
No, I actually had talking to yourself turned on, so I can test spells and macros and stuff like that while it's
Oh,
disabled
gotcha.
from chat. But what's interesting is I hit party rest while that was on, and it seems to suppress the mechanical effects of the macro, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the four of you awake. Dices has not returned, and you suspect that. Well, obviously, you need to bring the news back to Grand Mist. You know that landslide has gone to confer with Great Ursa tribe, and is unaware of the developments that you've sort of uncovered here.
And before we get going, I'm going to say to Navik, what is in that direction? What is in the direction she flew towards? Is that like just off to the wilderness, or
Did they go north?
Dices or the
Dices?
Dices.
Yeah.
Dices took off to the west, actually.
Okay. So back towards land and kind of towards Belbuck and stuff.
Yeah. Question for Ash: Would
Yes.
Dices have left Artax in Belbuck, or would she recover Artax?
I assume left him behind.
She's got wings now. She doesn't
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
a
well,
horse.
I don't need no horse. You guys can sell him.
For glue.
And don't we have a bear someplace too?
You do have a bear being cared for
That's right.
in
In
Belbuck.
Belbuck, right? Right.
That's right.
We have a baby bear that we rescued. Right.
Why do we like just collect things? Like I feel like we just gather random things.
Well, we can wait until it gets older,
And it's
kill
good
it,
No.
and then
Kill
we
it.
can skin it.
Why are we
And we'll have a
killing
nice bear rug.
bears?
because they're good eating.
Goodies.
We didn't kill Pooh Bear.
Oh, but at the very
I
beginning
did.
of the game.
Well, to
Yeah.
be fair, it just didn't last long anyway. We sent it to fight like 4 harpies.
It killed the herpes. It dragged it away for food.
That was an awesome bear, okay?
Yeah,
I
that
fed
bear
him my
is still alive.
rations.
I killed Pooh.
No, you
The-
didn't.
Yeah, the cloak, and the hood. That's Pooh.
No, it's
Is
not.
it?
You weren't even with
I've-
us. You were a different
No,
character
no,
back
this
then.
is-
That was still
Story.
Eduardo.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is the
that's
story.
actually-
I came through Fox Run, and I went to the ruins.
Have
and
you
I
told us
killed
this?
him. Yes, I did.
When? I don't remember.
I don't remember this.
Even the DM doesn't remember.
I'm okay with this. No,
To
no,
be fair, it's
I
been 2
no, I am
years.
fine with this.
No,
Go
I'm
with
fine
it.
with it, but that's pretty epic. But I'm a little crushed. I fed it my rations. I became its friend. It fought
I
for
respect
us.
that
I
so
said
much.
when I came out of the cage, I had the cape and the hood, and it said, "I skinned this myself near Fox Run."
I didn't catch that
Oh man.
That's fun.
moment. Poor.
Could have been
You're
any
not here
bear.
anymore. You don't know.
Could have been any bear. It's fine.
That's true. Dices doesn't know she left.
Or
That's
she sort of became possessed with all of this necrotic knowledge as soon as she transformed, that she read it on him. She could see the soul.
I shared my food with them.
Oh, we know who she's killing first.
You're gone, Navik. Over.
You love me.
That'd be not.
So yeah, you guys awake, and where are you heading today?
I come back from my jog.
Mhm.
I couldn't catch up to her.
What
What's
was
over there? Where did you
It's
go?
towards Belbuck.
Oh, maybe she flew there then.
Maybe she just happened to leave behind the deed to the house in the inn or something.
Do you guys hear that?
no?
Shut
It's
up!
almost like she's still here with us.
That
Minchinos
nagging.
is a dick.
Yep, no, she's here.
I feel the presence.
So yeah. So You brought the chief up the tank, right?
Well,
no,
the
it was
elder.
the elder.
Oh, the elder. Okay.
Yeah, no, we have to bring her back so she can explain to the chief.
That's
Yeah,
what
you
we're
gotta
doing.
return it. You took it out. You gotta take it back.
You're not here. Shush.
Quiet, you.
Quiet woman.
Okay, so we're heading back to the Goliath town of Goliaths.
Yeah, I think that's the actual name.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
GTG.
All right.
And we're off.
Navig, you can navigate back. You've been up and down this trail now like 4 times in the last day.
You have one
I think it's pretty good.
level of
so-
exhaustion.
I
You
think
can-
actually even I remember how to get there now.
you and the tank and the elder make your way back to Grand Mist.
Ask her if she has any like mixtapes she wants to play, anything along those lines.
Just drums.
Yeah, passenger gets to pick. There you go.
All right. So when you get to Grand Mist, you note that the banners that would indicate an audience with the chief are not raised, so he's not back yet. But it's otherwise it seems sort of business as usual. The medicine tent is still fairly active after the poisoning, but you haven't heard of any other sort of.
Now I forget, had the dignitaries or the other tribes started to arrive yet, or was that coming?
Not
up?
yet. No, that
Okay.
should be coming up. Yeah.
All right. Should we tell your sister?
Well, should we tell the sister?
Who,
I don't
who's,
really
the
think.
who's the person we should tell to help Stolesk out here? Because he's still in a shitload of trouble.
The chief.
So
That's
yeah, the chief
Solek's fault.
will need to know.
Okay, so we have to wait for the chief anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was like a sheriff or something like that.
Because Goliath
No,
is
the
sheriffs.
second in
Well,
line.
well, the equivalent, whatever.
There might be an advisor, but he probably went with Landslide.
Yeah, actually, the seers are probably the sort of the council.
All right, so we'll take her back to the Sears then.
Yeah, and she's got she has firsthand evidence, albeit through the back window of the tank.
No.
Hello.
The head's right there. The head's sitting right there as like a dashboard ornament. It's fine.
Yeah.
like in the Harry Potter bus.
Yeah, the entire trip back, she's just been staring out the window, pointing at nothing in particular out the sky, going, "On pale wings."
Okay. And then I use thaumaturgy to make an all drums soundtrack for the ride back.
All right, so where's your first stop? At the Sears hut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you sort of bring her back and sort of step down into the den where all of the sort of smoke and incense and things like that are burning constantly. Sort of set her back down in her bundle, her bedding, and she begins to sort of mouth information. But there's no actual words sort of being spoken, but you can tell just from body language that every single person in this hut, every seer, is hearing something. Navik, not a surprise to you. You know that these seers can communicate telepathically, but you suspect that the information that you have gathered is being sort of passed along.
Mhm.
After probably like a good 20 minutes of sort of just quiet And Navik, you know, you've been here before. I imagine you sort of respectfully wait for your turn to respond to any questions if there are any. She kind of turns to you and says, um, "Your father arrives," and like 30 seconds after that, you hear sort of the horns indicating that the chief has returned. And if you like peek out the door, you can see sort of his procession and guard sort of moving towards the warriors' hall where the dinner was.
Well, we should go over there.
And actually, you can see that there are a number of outsiders as well, presumably from Clan Ursa, and that are in the same sort of group.
Or we should bring them here to the Sears, actually.
Gonna convince your father of that?
Well, we should at least tell him what the elder found and what we found as well.
I got a head.
No comment.
Yes.
I'm hearing that again.
Trying to get ahead in life.
So you guys are heading to the Warriors Hall?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So as we step into the Warriors Hall, you can see that there's a fair amount of commotion and sort of cleanup is sort of happening in earnest, like quickly, as there are suddenly guests, and the place really hasn't been tidied since the feast. There are a number of members of Clan Ursa here who are sort of stern looking, but they certainly they're not coming across as hostile. You suspect that whatever Chief Landslide has sort of conferred to them has at least sort of bought them some time for discussion. And we'll pause the scene there and switch over to Ash. So first of all, I think that Rosie is in this room at one of the tables.
Okay.
What I want from you is, first of all, to tell us basically who we see to start.
Okay, well, Rosie is like a 25-year-old little halfling who is super tan from playing in the sun and frolicking and playing with like platinum blonde hair and honey-colored eyes. Shut up over there. She's crazy cheerful. She likes telling stories, and she's probably sitting there like, no matter how grim a situation is, she's trying to cheer everyone up and be all like, so do you want me to tell you a story? I got a really good story. It'll totally cheer you up. Or I have a joke or something.
Oh boy, Ithis is gonna like this.
Yeah, Ithis is gonna hate her. Hate her.
So what does she look like beyond that? Like, what's her sort of attire look like?
Her attire... She obviously doesn't put a lot of effort into her looks. Like, she's probably wearing like a pair of pants with some boots and kind of like a loose, like a blouse that's been like hastily tucked into her waistband. It's probably kind of creased at this moment. Like, if she's going to perform or whatever, she'd probably make an effort. But at this moment, it's kind of like she's been rushed around and she's all disheveled looking right at the moment.
Is this her first time? So obviously, Belbuck and the halflings of Belbuck are allied with Clan Grandmist.
Yep.
And I suspect that Rosie is familiar with probably Solesk.
Yep.
Probably, certainly Navik. Navik's sort of best bud in Belbuck is Bree Hilltop, but it's possible that Rosie is friends with Bree.
Yes, she
well, I
knows
mean, you're all
Bree.
from Belbuck, so you're all friends, basically.
Yeah, we're all besties.
So what brings Rosie to Grand Mist? It's quite the journey.
White.
She was invited to come because she's obsessed with adventure. She wants to leave and do stuff, and they're like, "Well, we'll start small." Her parents are like, "You should get out. You should do something. You can't just spend all your time at home with your 23 siblings, and go do something fun." And she's like, "Yes, I'm gonna go out. I love my family, but my 18 siblings just make me crazy." And she decided she was gonna go and start small and go travel and start at this town, hopefully to find something more to expand her and learn more stories to tell.
I'm gonna start small and climb a mountain.
Yeah, like she has grand.
Why not?
plans.
I also like that the number of siblings she has is going to change every single
Yeah.
time it's brought up.
Yeah, it's totally it's going to.
All right. So how about this? Again, since Belbuck is allied with Grand Mist, I suspect that the idea of the witnessing, so the trial for the Horde Breaker, is a fairly big deal. Certainly amongst Goliath culture, and that I imagine that would extend to allies and friends of the tribe. So it's possible that a group from Belbuck has come to bear witness as well.
Yeah, she came. Yeah.
So you could be here with a group of people from home.
Yeah, maybe 9 or 10 of her siblings. I don't know.
So let's say
Didn't make it.
there's
Nothing.
a group of like 30 halflings sort of taking up one of the long tables in this hall as the chief and these sort of disgruntled members of Clan Ursa arrive, and they kind of glance over at these tiny people, wondering how on earth these little halflings could survive in this climate.
Very
okay.
carefully.
That's great. So we know how she got here. So obviously you were traveling as a larger group, so it's not just like a solo journey.
Nope.
And presumably you took sort of the less dangerous route.
We would have taken like the
not through the crawl.
No, we would have taken like the main highway with signs and probably like a Starbucks over there, and it was very.
Wait,
very
there's one of those?
Yeah, I don't know what you guys were doing.
There was a gondola too, apparently.
I'm just gonna
Who
glare
wants
at
to do
Navik.
that?
I'm just glaring at Navik for a little while.
So yeah, still a treacherous journey, but if you go up the wall, it is not for the faint of heart. Certainly, it's a 4.5 day climb. So you're like sleeping on the edge of a sheer cliff, sort of dangling in your carabiner gear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's still a better choice.
I never told them this.
No,
so
you
they
didn't.
don't know about this.
They don't.
There was like 3 McDonald's. I don't know what you guys were doing.
Okay, great. So so as you guys sort of come into the Warriors Hall, this is what you see. A lot of faces actually that you saw from Belbuck, who are here now and sort of enjoying a meal and lots of drink. They seem
Anybody from that family that I stayed with? I don't remember. I didn't write down their names.
I've got that somewhere
Such a
here.
jerk.
Yeah, we'll say that there's at least one.
Cool. Come
Oh, that's
over.
right.
High
That's
five.
That's
Hey,
when Dice has got really paranoid all of a sudden, like tinfoil hat paranoid. Like, there's a conspiracy.
They're too nice.
They're too nice.
Meanwhile, I did the fire puppet show.
That's right. So I actually imagine that Manchinos is recognized by them, by that table as soon as you come in, and even I would say Rosie probably recognizes sort of the red-skinned tiefling who kind of put on all these shows for the couple of days that you were in Belbuck.
Oh, probably. It's like, hi.
Hi. It's good to see y'all.
Yeah, they're all
Gotta
getting
talk
up
to
and
you.
like
Catch you guys later.
milling around. Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to go talk to your fan club?
Oh,
Come
some
on.
high five. Well, high fives to them anyway, from their perspective.
Ah.
Yeah, dwarf.
Oh, we do high fives.
Just the height difference. It's awkward. Like, you know.
I'll do a wave to them since we're kind of in a little busy hurry.
Yeah, so there's a weird sort of duality in this room at the moment where there's like the group from Bellbuck who are like happy to be here. They've just finished a journey. They're being fed liquor and delicious meats and things like that. And then on the other side, there's a very concerned Chief
Very
Negan.
somber attitude.
Exactly. People have died. There's a potential
was
war
poisoned.
on the horizon.
And I'm like, oh, guys, did you know it comes in pints?
Did we get poisoned again?
I haven't drank anything in them.
So Navik, do you head over to? You can acknowledge the folks from Bellbuck, and then make your way over to your father.
Would Bree be with me?
That's a good question. Do you want her to be?
Well, I figured it'd be a good connection between
Sure.
me and, because I know Navik, like it's one of those things from high school. You're
Yep.
like, oh hi, but would you really talk to them on the street?
In that case,
Okay,
yeah,
she would.
Bree Hilltop is here, so Navik, you would definitely recognize that, and Bree would approach you and give you sort of a big hug after she vaults up onto your shoulders.
Yeah.
Aww.
And actually, she can probably do the introduction. So Bree, after she sort of says hello, what's going on? There seems to be some issues here. And she says, wait. Before you give me the bad
I'm gonna be
news,
already behind her. I am literally already popped up behind her. Like,
before I give you the bad news, or before you give me the bad news, this is my friend Rosie.
hi, I'm Rosie. You remember me? We know each other.
Is this her first trip?
It's the best. We climbed a mountain. Isn't that a cool mountain? It was really cold, but I
She
really liked it. It
almost
was really, really
froze to
fun.
death.
Oh, twice. It was so much fun.
Didn't get eaten by the lake monster. Okay.
There was a lake monster? Oh, can you guys take me to the lake monster? I want to see a lake monster.
Later.
Can we leave yet?
I'm already
Hi.
We should go talk to the chief. Let's go.
I'm already heading that direction.
Bye.
I've
I'll
got
talk
the-
to you later.
I'll
I'll be
just
sitting
take out-
over there.
Take out the head from underneath. I'm just like, I gotta give this to the chief. I'll be back.
Ooh, that's really cool too.
God.
Stop
That didn't work.
enticing them.
All right. I thought it would work. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to my pint, and we'll talk more later. Okay, bye.
I start researching the silence 15 meter spell.
So yeah, Bree kind of like hops down, and as Rosie is sort of dragging her by the arm back to the table, Bree kind of gives you one of these over her shoulder, like.
Aw.
These are some cool friends you have, Navik.
I'm still like waving, just like. at
You have
They're
you-
fun.
You have pint-sized groupies. That's so adorable.
Mini groupies. They're easier to travel with.
It's like those mini M&Ms, you know? It's like,
Yeah, you can stuff them in a bag of holding.
oh, harsh.
you totally could.
Portable
Damn it!
hole.
Don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas.
Portable hold will
Um,
survive though. So
Shit, did Dices have our bag?
Yes.
God damn it.
You've lost everything.
this is what
by the way.
happens when the one that holds all the money
No,
doesn't
that one
hold
won't
all
work.
the items.
No, Machinos has all the money. It's fine.
Exactly. He holds all the money, but not all the items.
No, I had a lot of stuff. My bad.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel terrible about it.
Oh, terrible.
So Chief Landslide sees you, Navik, from across the room, and he kind of looks over at you, and he kind of just gives you a look that says, "Come here, boy."
Boy. Come here, boy.
Boy.
Get
Well,
that
we're heading over
belt.
there anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
So you approach, and he's sort of there's a couple of the druids from Clan Ursa who are sort of gathered at the edge of the table, and they're kind of conversing amongst each other. And the chief kind of looks at you, and he goes, "So, what have you learned?"
we learned that there was a curse circle in the cave.
What cave?
The cave where
Should I, since Clan Ursa's right there,
Mhm.
would I know if going into the cave would actually be really a bad idea?
Typically, if you remember, one of the descriptions that I had given as you approached the cave was that the exterior of it was sort of laden with offerings.
Mhm.
So you know that at least the exterior of the cave is, visited often.
so
you
I
would
don't
be
know
allowed
any of
there.
this. I don't know any of this. I said, "Oh, the cave where the bear lives."
Yeah.
I figured as much.
If he wasn't going to do it, I was going to do it. So
Yeah, the curse in there drove the bear mad
Yep.
and sent it on a rampage.
Uh,
Wait, was that okay?
if it's any consolation, this guy also got hit by the curse, and he went crazy, absolute batshit crazy.
He had a much longer beard when this started.
He says, so the great bear was cursed.
Yes, the elder, and I don't remember her name. We brought the elder from the seers, and she examined it, and she confirmed what we suspected was that there was a curse there. And I won't get into the magic details, but it drove the bear mad into a page, and I can speak firsthand that there was no controlling it, and it just went on a rampage.
He immediately just does one of these, and two messengers just take off. And he says, so the bear was driven into a madness.
And running across the countryside.
He does another one of these. In moments, you see three of the seers literally being carried into the hall. And they, without speaking, start conveying information to Landslide. And then you see in shackles Solesk being led into the hall. And he kind of makes sort of these big puppy dog eyes over at Navik, this is really bad.
And I'm leaning behind Navik, leaning around going, shh, hoping he sees me.
And so Landslide kind of looks over at Solesk and he says, give me your account of the bear again. And he kind of waves over to the clan elders from Great Ursa, and they sort of stand. They've got these big, sort of long robes and things like that, with animal skulls sort of adorned all over their heads and shoulders. They kind of look like the Silent from Slay the Spire. Maybe a reference that only works on a couple of you, but.
I'm sure it was hilarious.
Yeah, just more for sort of descriptive flavor, but they kind of lean in over the table and listen to Solesk's sort of account. He's like, "Well, we were hunting, and the big white bear came trampling through the forest and started knocking things over." And then it attacked me. That's when I brought out my axe and we killed the bear. And the Great Ursa clan members kind of look at each other and in Giant are sort of whispering back and forth. The great bear is a peaceful beast. It would never hunt unless it was threatened and blah blah blah. And the seers again begin to sort of convey information, and this is done, Navik, through the retelling of both sort of imagery. They can kind of project memories into people's minds, and you can see them sort of stand up straight as soon as they become aware that there was sort of someone else involved in causing the great bear to sort of lose his mind and go into a rage.
Mhm.
And Landslide says, "So who?"
Well, pull out the Etten head. Shortly after these guys attacked us, I just drop it on the floor with the things sticking up so they can see the tattoo.
Yeah, I think in any other place in the world, if you were to drop an Etten head on a table, there would be a reaction. But like everyone in this room is just like, eh.
That's what I was kind of hoping for.
Yeah, the head just sort of rolls across the table and like comes to a stop with like the Splinter Pine insignia sort of traced across its face. And Landslide and Solesk and like a bunch of other like Grand Mist members, as soon as they see the Splinter Pine tattoo on the Etten's face, they'll go Splinter Pine.
And then I cast Thaumaturgy for a thunderclap.
Yeah, very dramatic.
Yeah.
Crash.
Splinter Pine.
And so the elders from Clan Ursa start to sort of whisper amongst each other, and Landslide comes over to you guys and he says, "So they attacked after all of this? Why did they think you were?"
We were at the cave inspecting it and semi-guarding it in case anyone came to disturb us.
They probably knew that we knew. They didn't want us to know.
They knew that we knew that they knew that they knew.
Yes. That.
He says, "This is low, even for the Splinter Pine. To attempt to cause a rift between another clan. They must truly fear what the results of the witnessing will be."
So, as an aside to DM, the tattoo, it just looks like it was clumsy. It doesn't look like it was, a clumsy Etten tattoo. It wasn't like it was, doesn't look like it was faked or half-assed. Just
No,
Ettins,
this is...
Ettins just suck at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. He says, "Well, this changes things for Solesk. I'm not sure it changes things for Nissa."
What do you mean?
And he says, well, Solesk stands accused of murdering a sacred animal to another tribe. Nissa and Salya stand accused of selling for personal profit clan resources. Is that not still true? That's unaffected by this
It was
discovery.
under misleading circumstances, to be fair.
Certainly they were tricked, but their vanity is what caused them to make the sales.
I'm just a simple country thief.
Of course. For Solesk, what was the result for him still? Sorry?
Sorry, say again, the result?
Yeah, like is he still being
No,
punished?
I think Landslide is given that because this sounds now like Solesk acted not out of the pursuit of the hunt, but rather in defense.
Okay. Because I was going to say, yeah, it'd be more of a defensive
Exactly.
nature. Okay. Yeah, Nissa's on her own.
Yeah, and that's basically what Landslide is saying to Navik. But you can read on your father. There is a part of him that wants you to, like, he's hoping you've got something else that will allow him to get her off the hook.
I think you also need to mitigate, because obviously there was a lot of planning that went into what happened with the bear, And what happened here was set up for many weeks in advance, and there's been research done. So there's an awful lot of effort that went into this. It wasn't just a simple bit of trickery. So there was a lot of work that.
They had said that they were going to buy with the money that they got for weapons to help the clan.
Navik,
Tribe.
you know as well as I that Clan Grand Mist does not want for quality weapons.
But if there are better ones out there, it will help the clan further.
Perhaps. He says, perhaps I need to see this weapon.
When the Yak folk, was it?
Mhm.
When the Yak folk came before, Nissa had said that they had weapons there.
Yeah, that there was a spear that they had for sale.
When the Yak folk came before, Nissa had said that they had weapons there that would enhance her more.
And if there's
That's-
enchanted weapons, that's something entirely.
That they would be better suited for her or more proficient.
Yeah, at least Nissa felt that was the case, yeah.
You know, there's also a chance. We know that they've already done mind altering magics there that Navik and I were affected by. There's a very good chance they were using mind altering magics on your tribe as well to help influence their decisions.
Go and make a persuasion check.
Yeah.
And you can take advantage, not that you need it, but Landslide's in a position where he wants to believe.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with this.
Yeah, okay. So he says, yes. Yes, that would be very Splinter Pine.
Thunderclap.
Cacao.
Just assume I'm going to do that from now on, at least for this conversation.
So he says, there's much to discuss, and reparations need to be made. It's possible that in the offense that Splinter Pine has had on us and Great Ursa, that we may be able to improve relations. That would be a good silver lining. He
Indeed.
says, well,
You know,
in a few days' time-
the Dark Elven symbol for opportunity is also the same with races, so it makes sense.
the chief says, well, you need to prepare for the witnessing. Leave me, I will be heading back to Clan Ursa, and we will discuss the next steps that we will take against Splinter Pine. But he says, but you need to prepare. You need to find, and he's saying this in Giant at the moment. Does Rosie speak Giant? Just out
I
of
forgot to
curiosity.
do languages, actually. I didn't do.
I mean,
I
it
would
would be
assume-
logical.
Yeah.
I feel like I would at least, because right now I just have Common and Halfling, but I feel like with the connection with them, I feel like I would.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I'm okay
least
even beyond the norm.
Conversational, like.
Yeah, exactly. If there's any like story-related reason you think your character should know another language, by all means.
Probably all the halflings know, since we've probably been talking to men, possibly in that,
Mhm.
and maybe swearing in that as well.
Yeah, and that's the first thing that the halflings learn is
Oh, yeah, all the good
Goliath
swear
words.
words.
Yeah, exactly.
If you remember, I also started teaching that family some infernal swear.
That's true. Yeah.
The children, anyway.
All right. So actually, before Landside leaves, he's like, and remember, Navik, you need to have your your allies chosen before the witnessing. Do you have them?
Yes,
Good.
they're right
I
here.
hope they are strong. He says, "Where is the strange scaled one?"
She gone.
Awkward.
We are not sure. We think she may have fallen victim to the same madness magics that were in the cave. Unfortunately, we were not able to pursue because she was
Splinter
Flying.
Pine.
thunderclap.
I love it.
He's like, "Well, good. Prepare yourself. You have anything you need for your preparation. Of course, you are the Horde Breaker for Clan Grand Mist. If you need assistance, seek it. It will be given to you. I will be gone for 3 days. When I return, the elders will be ready to move to the Crimson Basin."
Mhm.
So he kind of puts a giant meaty hand on your shoulder and kind of gives you like a little shake and a firm nod, and he leaves along with his like entourage and the clanners elders.
All right.
Well, so what do you have to do to prepare?
Make sure our weapons are in good condition.
Super
Mhm.
pointy.
Needs to go to a pool and hug a weapon and drown himself.
Again.
Yeah.
You know,
You need to
that
clear
I
yourself
just
again.
I just roll my eyes and look at Ithis and go, "Yeah, let's go get her."
So actually, in that vein, let me tell you exactly what the witnessing will entail.
Excellent.
Hooray!
So if you bring your eyeballs back to Roll20, if you are on a different tab, I'm going to switch the map for a second here.
Ooh, switch the map.
Switch the map. Switch the
Switch
map.
the map. Switch the map.
Dun-dun-dun.
Okay, the brown one looked like boobies with a tummy.
Didn't see that coming at all.
But it does! I didn't have it being inappropriate. It really does. It's like one of those, like, totem things. Yeah, shut up.
It's a fertility goddess thing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's totally not inappropriate. It's
There, I made it appropriate finally.
And
I
then
was
the
the one who
one-
made it appropriate.
And then the green one above looks like someone with 2 penises.
It is actually.
Ah, see, there you go.
The Two Dick Clan.
They're such dicks.
So those are the tribe symbols for each of the clans. The blue one is Grand Mist. The red one is Slaughter Peak.
Oh, I'm going to see the half pine tree is.
Splinter Pine.
Thunderclap.
Yeah. The purple one is Winterhook. The white one is Zephyr, and the brown one is, or the boob one, is Great
Women
Ursa,
represent.
which is supposed to be a bear claw.
Yeah, Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah.
I see it now. I see it now, yeah.
So, on the day of the witnessing, this is the Crimson Basin. And you will all sort of meet at the starting point, which is a map divided into hexes. And basically, there will be a ceremony. Navik will sort of declare his allies, and everyone will have their belongings moved into storage. So this tournament begins with you wearing light clothing and having no weapons or armor.
Oh, it's Battle Royale. Got it.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
a question about my.
If it's Battle Royale, they should be in little schoolgirl outfits, like Japanese girls.
Oh
Well,
god.
that's actually what I wear under my
Gino's,
robe. So okay.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Splinter Pine will definitely be flossing.
Oh, that's not okay.
I approve.
I
No,
do
it is
not.
Jordan, what was your question?
I have a question about my battle axe.
Yeah.
Since it's bonded to me, can I summon it from anywhere?
No.
Damn.
And only because I think that there are certain sort of iconic class abilities that if you hand them around to other people, they kind of diminish the value of those. So I think hex blades should like keep that, but I think we can probably work out some
Warlock.
interesting sort of bonded weapon traits that we can sort of evolve the edge to.
Okay.
He was trying to do the new God of War thing, just like.
Well, I knew Eldritch Knights could
Yeah.
do that.
I was going to mention.
Oh yeah,
that.
they can, and I think warlocks can too. Or
Warlocks
some.
have
Yeah,
the Hexblade.
Hexblade.
Yeah.
That you can absorb other weapons into type of.
So you all begin at the starting point with your weapons and armor and possessions basically removed from you. There's the blast of a horn, and you basically move out into the wilderness on the first day in seeking sort of equipment. So there's a couple of things obviously that you can see on the map. There are weapons. There is clothing that represents cold weather clothing. There's armor, and there is shelter. And there's also food. So the way it works is every single day you have 4 movement points. So starting from the center hex, you can spend your movement to move into the next hex. It's 1 movement to move into just a snowy, empty hex. It's 2 to move into a forest.
Right. So this would be a 2.
Mhm.
And this is just clear 1.
Yeah, that would be a 1. Hills are also a 2.
Okay.
Forests also sort of obscure you, so if you're in a forest, it's harder to know that. Once you guys sort of leave that first hex, it becomes sort of hidden where the other tribes are. So if you want to scout into adjacent hexes, you roll a perception test, and the difficulty depends on whether or not they're on the high ground in a forest or on the open field. So for the first day, really, the choice is yours, whether or not you go for weapons, clothing, food, or armor.
All right.
The other thing is, so you have your 4 movement points. At the end of a day, you can push yourself once per day to gain 1 additional movement point.
Mhm.
That is done through a Constitution check. And you get the extra point no matter what. But if you fail the con save, then you start the next day with exhaustion.
Okay.
Right? So, for instance, if you wanted to go for the weapons on the first day, you can spend 4 movement point to sort of get to the weapon spot and then push yourself to a shelter. Make sense so far?
Yep.
Cool. So the reasons you would want a shelter, for example, is because during the witnessing, the only way you can heal is by spending hit dice
Oh, I'm back. Good.
or through magic. And your hit dice are only recovered after a long rest if you are either sheltered or well fed.
Okay.
Or sorry, sheltered or warm. Clothing being warm, shelter being sheltered. So as long as one of those are true, you regain some of your hit dice.
Well, we have a cleric with us, so we don't have to worry about food.
Yeah. You mean?
Yeah, if you're spending a spell slot to summon food, that's easy. You don't have to go for food.
Right.
I'm willing to do that. But you have to do it every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, every day you would burn.
It's a 3rd level, I think.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't have that many that'll keep us going forever, so.
Cool. So it makes sense so far?
Yep.
Yeah.
Next thing you can do is the way you sort of win the witnessing is you either are the last tribe standing. So straight out of the gate, you can, as long as you're in the same hex as another group, you can fight them. So on the first day, that means fists and kicking. For casters, you can cast any spell as long as it doesn't require components. So components are weapons for you, basically. You will find a component pouch or a foci at a weapons cache.
Okay.
But that also means that groups with a lot of casters, such as Splinterpine or Great Ursa, are going to be far more dangerous at the beginning of the game than later. That would also be true of Zephyr, who have monks.
Actually, a lot of my stuff is just verbal semantic anyway.
Yep.
Somatic, rather.
So yeah,
Semantics.
if you beat a and combat isn't usually to the death. Sometimes accidents happen.
Oops.
But if another group declares themselves broken, that is a surrender, and it is considered dishonorable to execute them.
All right.
Fine.
So that's one way to win. The other way to win is there are a number of spirit animals on the map. These are basically bosses. They are spirits that are tied to Goliath culture, who have they have a stake in sort of what's at play here. And so one of the things that they like to do in these sort of tournaments is challenge Goliaths in these sort of rites. And so for each spirit that you defeat, you will be granted special boons, potentially special weapons and equipment. And if you can defeat 3 of them and return back to the start before anyone else, you also win. If you defeat a group who has already defeated another animal spirit, you earn the favor of that animal spirit. So if you run into Splinterpine and they've already killed the bear and the eagle, if you kill Splinterpine, then you earn the favor of the bear and the eagle. So there's a lot of different sort of avenues that you can go. You can like just start killing people, you can go for the animals, or you can like hang out near the animals until someone else kills it and then kill them.
All right.
But once the sort of tournament begins, those spirit animals will be hidden, so you will have to hunt them.
Okay. So they move around as well.
They will move around, yeah.
Well, you
and
are
that's-
playing Hunger Games.
Yeah, exactly. I thought about putting at the starting location. I thought about putting like a table with just like weapons on it, but I feel like that would just
too on the
turn
nose.
into a bloodbath in the first.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah,
Ah!
yeah
I
exactly.
have a feeling a fireball would just somehow magically land.
Needs materials for
Unfortunately,
that.
a fireball does require components, unfortunately.
Lame.
Some of my other stuff does not, however, which will be fun.
You could just, have a match.
I'm
Have a
assuming
chef
that the T2 weapons mean tier 2.
Yeah. So you can get basically plus 1 weapons from those locations, as well as plus 1 armor. Or not plus 1 armor, but rather sort of advanced armor. So like at the first armor location, you can get things like up to medium. But if you want full plate mail, that's a tier 2.
Okay.
There are some other sort of mechanical rules involved here, but they don't really pertain to the overall sort of vision of the tournament. Things like there's rules for how to flee combat if you're overwhelmed and things like that. There's ambushes if you move into a hex that a tribe group is in and they don't know that you were in the other hex, you get like a surprise round on them.
Cool.
But we can sort of play that as it comes up. Do you have any questions about that?
Nope.
For spells that require materials, are we only restricted to the stuff we get from whatever the items are in the map. Like if something requires something as basic as like a piece of fabric.
Yeah.
We are wearing fabric, so we could kind of like tear off a piece.
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, if something requires a stick and you're in a forest, then you have a stick.
Cool. Got
Yeah.
it. Minecraft style. Good.
How
Yeah.
novel.
If something requires the hair, the nose hairs of a harpy, little more difficult to get.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's a harpy.
Unless you are a harpy.
Is there a lot of lightning up in these mountains?
There can be, yeah.
Cool. I'll have to keep my eyes out.
And weather will
Um,
play a role, I assume.
Weather will play a role. But not in the same way that it did on the way up. It'll play more of like an environmental, like if it's like a blizzard, then your ranged attacks have a reduced amount, kind of thing.
Would it affect our movement at all?
There are some things like deep snow which can affect movement.
And what's labeled as deep snow? Is that just a weather effect, or?
It's going to be sort of there's going to be a set of parameters that are randomly assigned for a different anytime there's a battlefield, basically.
Okay.
We will randomly assign what the battlefield looks like in this particular spot.
Okay. I'm good. I just need like a 2-minute break.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
let's do that then, and we'll return in 5.
Yep. Sounds
Sure.
good.
Okay.
And now the intermission sign.
Da, da, da. Oh, I should make something to put up. Just be like. Da, 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 da.
I thought we did have something that he put up. Delete.
Delete.
That's a lot of monitors you got going there, Caleb.
Where did you post it?
The other disc, the main channel.
In Discord, not that cord.
I see what you did. You're good.
Oh yeah, I was.
Thunderclap.
Yeah. No. Ghostly groaning.
All right, so let's start. We know what the witnessing is, and this can be something that Navik sort of explains to the group, and potentially, I don't know how old Navik would have been. Navik certainly would have seen the last witnessing, but he may have been much younger. He may not have even been given a clan name yet. He just would have been Navik the Young.
Navik Young.
Before
He's
you
so cute.
earned Hide Chaser.
Hi, Jason.
When he was a teenager, and well,
He was
Yeah.
experimenting.
things happen in the woods.
Okay, so
So we had a few days to repair, right?
absolutely, yeah. If
So
there's
by
anything
the-
you want
at
to
the
do
end
in
of
the
that
next couple
ceremony-
days.
At the end of that ceremony, I dragged Ithis and probably Caleb over to where the halflings are and just try to teach Ithis how to drink. I know, and it's going to work one of these times. At least come over and talk with people. Come on.
Yeah,
We're-
I'll go over to see Rosie as well.
Just in terms of preparing, are we doing like a preparing session, or like session as in like a couple minutes, or are we planning now? Have we planned?
You can plan now if there's anything you need to prepare ahead of time. One of the
I need
things,
to-
as I was saying prior, is that we need to sort of, as a group, sort of contrive Rosie's role into the group.
Well, that's why I was going to go talk and drink
Yeah.
and
Mhm,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
In terms of spells, because I know you mentioned the cleric can create food. I can create food as well. Granted, he might
Right.
have more spell slots than I do. Other than that, yeah, are we going to try and kind of balance our spells? Any spells
I mean,
that
I
you want
don't-
us to bring?
I don't have a lot of freedom. I have my spells and then just the slots around them, so I don't have to prepare anything. I have all the ones I have at the ready. Just I need the
Okay.
bullets in the chamber.
Question about
Um,
the map.
I knew it like that.
In terms of the shelter and the food and everything else, really, is it deemed that nothing is going to be trapped or diseased or poisoned or affected in any way, shape, or form other than being what it actually is? Or do we not know that?
Navik can relay that, at least in the history of the witnessings that he has seen, nothing has ever been trapped or anything like that, unless it was trapped by another group passing through.
Okay. Cool. I will look through my spells and we can continue on. I can bring it up after.
Sure. So you guys sort of approach the halflings table, or just like Rosie and Bree?
That's where they are, though, is the halflings.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go over there, bring Ithis, and make a show of it,
Yeah, you
as
would.
is my way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
Friends!
most of Belbuck remembers this as well, despite his attempts to stay hidden.
You guys remember this guy, the
It's the
bird?
Happy Birdman. Hi, Happy Birdman. Perfect.
That's the spirit.
So some mountain milk is brought to the table.
Yeah,
Blue? It's blue milk, right?
Yeah,
it can be.
Okay.
it can be whatever color you ask. This is Grand Mist.
They can do anything.
They do
Yes.
not fuck around with their mountain milk.
The fuck-
Yep. All right. And we start drinking and chatting up and trying to draw Ithis out of his beak a little bit. Because I'm going to be damned if I don't make a drinking buddy out of him.
Yes. I want to see you drink. Can you drink? I want to see you drink. Do you get really chatty when you drink? I hope you're really chatty. You seem like the chatty type.
Bree leans over to Rosie and says, I think you're scaring him.
Oh, nah, I don't scare anybody. Everyone likes me. I'm so popular. Everyone likes me. All my siblings, like 23 of them, really like me. I love my family. They're so awesome.
I lean over to Ithis. So do the women in your flock do that too? He's not even going to answer. He's like, no, forget it.
It is one eyebrow ever so slightly goes up. Like that's the extent of his communication. Just one eyebrow.
Oh, he's locked again. He's No, he's just going to talk in sign language.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm just going to ignore whatever he says anyway. That's not. I wasn't really waiting for an answer.
Yeah, that's
Broken.
not really the point of this conversation.
No.
Oh, poor Ithis is broken.
No, it's just how he is. We're trying. All right. So yeah, we'll just chat it up and try and get through the annoyance.
Should we do shots? We should totally do shots. I like doing shots. I've never done a shot, but I hear that's really cool. That's the thing you say, right?
Yeah, that's true. So a shot is when you take a full mug of mountain milk like this
Okay.
and just knock it back in a single shot.
Ooh, I could totally do that. I did it all the time, but mostly with water. My friends used to dare me. But
Yeah,
I could
no,
totally
you
do
can't,
it
you can't be talking while you do it. There's a ceremony.
with. Oh.
You pick up the mug,
You got to put that mug right in your face.
you tap it on the table once, and put it right in your face and start drinking. You
Okay,
can't
I'll
talk.
totally do it. She just downs it.
Is historically, is Rosie a drinker?
No, she's never drank before.
Okay. Good to know.
Like she might have had like a really weak beer at home or whatever, like not like this volume.
Yeah, I think especially coming from Bellbuck, alcohol is a fairly big part of the economy, but they're not. They're sort of, they appreciate their drink. They don't sort of drink in
Yeah, she
excess
does.
often.
Yeah, she's never had like a big drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sip beers and stuff at home. Like they don't. Yeah, she's never chugged alcohol before.
Yeah.
Have you ever
alcohol
done
is for enjoyment, not for chugging.
Have you ever
Yes.
done a two-fist?
What's a two fist?
Ah, you do the same thing, but with a mug in each hand.
Could you show me? That sounds really cool. I
Yep.
could totally write a story about it.
The Twin Mountains, the Twin Peaks.
The twin.
Oh God.
I'm gonna write that down. That's a great idea. I could totally make a story called Twin Peaks. I think that'd be a really good story. I'm gonna start pulling
So
a
while
quill.
she's going around talking to everybody around her, I'm going to take 2 mugs, cast minor illusion on them so they look like they have something in them,
Oh no.
and then just like this. Remember, no talking. Tap tap, and then drop the illusion so they're empty again.
So.
Oh yeah, just like that.
So I assume you're there, right? Caleb, you're
Yep.
with us.
I was apparently brought over for drinking.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dwarf Man. What's your name, Mr. Dwarf Man?
Not here.
Not here. That's a really weird name. I've never heard that one before. I'm gonna make a note. That'd be really good for a story. I'm gonna make more notes.
At this point.
All right,
How about-
good. So I get 2 mugs and hand them to her as like her turn.
Am I back? Holy crap.
Here you go.
Hi.
Welcome back.
I'm actually back. Holy crap.
Yep.
So, yeah, it just froze for a solid 4 minutes and another 3 after it
Cool.
recovered.
We'll work
Yeah,
on
it
it.
was so
I
working.
missed. Sorry to ruin your comedy.
No,
It's,
you can
it's
talk.
really not. Okay, yes.
No, Ithis can talk over her, and that's fine, please.
Yeah, that's totally okay.
It's really not liking the webcams. So.
Okay.
Right. Well, look, little one. I do not care in the slightest about you. So please.
Oh,
Wow.
that's really cool. You're really cool. I really like you.
Well, thank you.
Dude, negging doesn't actually work.
I
Alright,
slap
fine.
this upside the head.
Apparently Namek joins us.
He's
Welcome
so
Oh, I
Namek.
walked over with to
Yeah.
visit Bree and Rosie.
Okay.
Well, yes, Minchinos, they do, but when they do, they are usually locked in a cage for a couple weeks. The Order does not like speaking out of line.
He's so dark and brooding. He'd be a really good character for my story. I love dark and brooding. That's really cool.
I mean, that is true. He's totally an edgelord, but
He's not like emo.
I don't deny
Emo, that's a
it.
cool word.
Look, if you were brought up and raised to hate every single thing that wasn't you, and then also hate yourself, then yes.
we'd be in Arkansas.
We'd be in
What
Bree
is
says, I've
this?
never been there.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I would like to go there. That'd be really fun.
No,
Could
you wouldn't. You wouldn't. It's like the most backwoods place ever. You don't want to go there.
Minchinos, allow me to tell you a story, and you can listen to.
Okay.
Oh, please. Yeah.
So,
You missed. You actually missed.
I did.
He's been drinking already.
hold on, I gotta restart because I can't hear Liam.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Anyway.
Now for the story. So, when I was a fledgling, I had, well, let me put it this way. I lived in the Fathomwood, in the Ishkari village, and,
I love the bird.
well, my mother would tell me stories of the outside world, and how there were people that lived actually free, and it was very, very nice and very good legends. And my mother actually smuggled in books she bought from traders telling me all about the outside world, and I learned of history, and the Order never taught me any of this. And my mother told me someday you'll be able to go out there. And so, of course, eventually I did. But
And now
they
you're
found
stuck
out,
with
they
us.
found out about the books, executed her, and then locked me in a cage where every single day they locked me in a cage above the village, and then everyone would gawk at me and laugh. And even my closest friends were supposed to hit me on the way out. That is what the Order does to people who disobey.
This explains an awful lot, actually.
Exactly, it does. It really does, and that is why I've refrained telling it to anyone, because, well,
Then we know why you're a dick.
yes, I guess you could say that, yes.
Oh,
Because
he's
I
not
was-
a dick. He's so
I wasn't once, but of course it was beaten out of me, so that's great.
Well, then this. You know what? Yeah, have a cup of this. It'll bring it back. By the way, Rosie, here are your 2 mugs.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I think I'll try it.
Yeah, there we go. There's a mug for you.
Ithis, after you finish telling your story, Bree Hilltop, Navik's sort of best bud from Bellbuck, sort of like stands up on the bench at this table. So she's like basically just below eye height now. And she kind of
So
puts a
pretty.
hand on your sort of feathered shoulder, and she says, "That's really sad." And then she goes into her satchel, and she pulls out a history book, a halfling history book, and she says, "Here, this is for you."
Thank
Oh,
you.
Rosie, that was really nice. Oh, Rosie. Mrs. Bree. I meant to say Bree. I meant the third
Well,
person now,
well-
apparently.
Well, thank you.
Great.
I suppose this does help. He pops into a satchel, and he
read
pulls
as
out.
many of
He
those as
pulls
you want.
out. Hold on. He pulls out the children's book from the
Aw.
shop, and he says, "My mother gave this one to me, and that's why I bought it back in the shop,
Oh, that's so nice.
because I had this as a kid and I never could find it."
I leaned over to Caleb. It's a good thing we didn't set it on fire after all, huh?
Aren't we still
And
planning?
he says, "Here."
Oh, sorry.
He hands
Yes.
He hands it to Bree.
Aw.
You could get better use out of it than I could.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, it's a fair trade."
This guy understands you.
And he says, "Yes, I am what some would call evil, what some would call just mean and curmudgeon-y, but really I don't want to be like that."
Okay.
She says, "I can tell."
We're gonna be totally the best of friends.
We'll see.
Bree will like look over to Rosie and she says, "I can tell. This one's got a good heart deep down in there."
I think so too. I'll work on him. Don't worry.
I think the brooding part is just part of being a bird.
Well, no, I think it's more that they instilled it into me. Because when I was a child,
I mean, it's also the beak. Let's be honest.
He's not molting yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're
You
right.
got that whole thing
this,
going, and
this
that
thing,
weird
this
little,
thing.
That weird
So
little
let
thing
me,
you do
let
with
me
your
tell
eye.
you about. He's kind of drunk a little bit now. Let me tell you a bit about this, okay?
Oh God!
Yeah. Oh
How
god,
do-
drunk bird.
He's opening up.
How do you
We've waited so long.
how do you use cups with this? And
We need
it's
to
hooked.
invent-
It's hooked.
We need to invent a cylinder type device so you could draw liquid up it into your beak. How would we do
Maybe,
that?
maybe.
If only a beak would allow suction.
You make a valid point.
I'll tell you one more story here, real fast.
Well,
The
we do have
reason-
to prepare for this whole battle thing.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm already like with the spilled ale and that is on the table. I'm like drawing out the map.
And I'm still pushing those other 2 mugs at Rosie. You got it too fast. Those are the rules.
You guys are totally gonna be fighting and stuff? Can I help?
Yes.
Is I down?
No.
Sure, why not? If you die, then so be it.
I've been practicing like forever. Did you guys know I'm a bard? I just got my
Music,
certificate.
a very powerful weapon.
Do you come with a ballista?
No. I left those in my other pants.
A bard.
Well,
Come
I sing a
along,
bit.
come along. You could be useful.
Yeah, an adventure. I really want to go on an adventure. I'm so happy to have so many more friends.
She's just
I
gonna
think the
be
last
up,
time he said something was useful, didn't he eat it?
maybe.
Oh
But-
no,
That
That's
sounds
not-
like me.
Well, hopefully she won't be a bardin.
a bard. Oh, dad joke. Dad joke.
Boo.
Oh please, that
Such
worked
a
with.
dad
That worked
joke.
well.
It did.
I'm gonna
10 points.
firebolt
Gryffindor.
his butt.
If I that with all the ale, that yeah okay. Everything explodes.
Oh gosh,
Grand
guys,
Hiss is gone. Now Grand Smoke.
Grand smoke.
It makes a lovely crater.
It's now called the Smoky Mountains.
So how does
Silence.
Navik feel about all this?
I am a little hesitant, but it could go all right.
Bree kind of leans over to you and she's like, "I'm as surprised as you are, but I will say that, she's not the most experienced of adventurers per se, but she actually does have a fairly impressive repertoire of like spells and stuff. She was really useful on the way up, actually."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to be, on your team, but I hunt rabbits.
Rabbits.
I can't shoot Goliaths. And wouldn't it be nice to have a representative from Bellbuck on your side?
That is true.
I mean, you helped us with the Yetis.
Did I? It's like, I remember cowering behind Navik's leg. I think I hit one.
That is all that matters. You hit one.
But don't. Okay, guys, do you want me to prove I can be helpful? Watch this. So I'm going to create my thorn whip, whip it across to grab another bottle of alcohol and pull it over and pour a drink. And then it disappears. See? I can do cool stuff. Take a drink. It's
Interesting.
like Indiana Jones, like whip. And I pull over the.
One of the older members of Bellbuck kind of he's like, "Ah, Rosie, border house reach."
What was that?
He's basically scolding her for for her manners.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to reach across the table. It's very poor manners. I'm surprised I don't get slapped with something, because out comes like my grandmother would have stabbed me if I had done that as a kid. I'd reach across the table.
Yeah, with the whip.
If I had a whip, that would have been impressive. But no, if my hand had done it. Yeah, could you imagine? I have a whip randomly.
I'm just waiting to see when she, passes out from drinking. This is the first time she's drank.
Well, no, I've drank before, but I haven't drank like this.
Oh, okay.
I don't chug. And I've had like
Chug.
what?
Bree will lean over to Navik and she's like, and I've been reading about these, and nobody really fights, to the death, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually.
She'll be all right.
How often has there been sabotage before a witnessing?
Bree has no idea. Navik, it's fairly common.
Oh. Well, in that case.
Oh, this is when another character dies. Woo!
Yeah.
By whose hand? Nobody knows.
Splinter Pine.
Thunderclap.
Yeah. Navik, you also know, and this is Navik knowledge, not
Yeah, Navik knowledge.
yeah, Navik knowledge.
Now you know.
The rainbow.
It could be Bree knowledge, but I don't think she's ever seen a witnessing before either. But that as far as the sort of prophecy of the Hordebreaker goes, that the people who are chosen to be sort of the allies of the Hordebreaker, the prophecy says that they die.
Oh.
This is not sort of talked about very often, but like at the second leg, if you win the tournament, if you win the witnessing and are named the Hordebreaker, the next step is to climb Terra's Fang for the final trial, in which all of the people who allied behind you sacrifice themselves for your success.
Does he tell us this?
I feel like this would be really good to pass on to the rest of the group.
In traditional
He's
Navik
not.
fashion, though.
Yeah,
He'll
tell us at the very end.
Yeah, as we climb. Guess what, guys? You're dying for my success. Thanks.
I have one scroll.
Oh, we're totally.
He'll start reading it as he's falling off the cliff.
I'm fine.
This is just like a byline, though. It's not a big deal.
Point of order.
You also know that everyone who has been named Hordebreaker in the past 150 years has never returned from Terra's Fang anyway, so,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
we're going up for a stroll.
yeah.
There may be a portal at the top or something, I swear. It's just like a quick way to get down. They're like, man, we're not going back up the hill.
It's actually just a Four Seasons.
Could you imagine? Just a force.
It's one of those really high-end lodges.
Oh, and I was going to ask you, Liam, how much money would she have?
Oh, yes. We were going to talk about that. So, I think... So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, you were saying that... so, obviously, Adiaco has a fair amount of bard colleges.
Yeah.
That could have sort of... did you want to be separated from that? Do you want to have more of like a homegrown talent, or would you have gone sort of to Adiaco to study under other people?
It was a homegrown. It was more like they were traveling through, doing shows and stuff, and it was kind of like she was discovered in a way, and they taught her.
Okay.
She never actually left her town. They came to her.
Okay, absolutely. So in that case, I think what we'll do is I will have you... I'm going to open the PHB real quick here. What was your background that you picked? Was it entertainer?
It was entertainer, yeah. Because she's so entertaining. And everyone vomits in their mouth a little bit.
So, start by rolling 5d4.
$12. Yeah.
And we're going to multiply that by 20. So on your character sheet, go ahead and add 240 gold plus, I think Entertainer usually gives you like a coin purse too, right?
Yeah.
Is it like 10 gold or something?
Yeah, it was like 10.
Backgrounds. Entertainer, 15 gold.
Yeah.
So total of 255 gold in your purse, plus all of your
works.
equipment is basically on the house. If
Yeah.
there are things that you haven't added to your character sheet that are mundane, take them.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can carry them.
Yeah, I don't get to carry a lot. With all my instruments, I don't really have a lot of room. Also, she plays a ukulele, by the way. Just to make her slightly more irritating, because she's not irritating enough.
Oh yeah, you needed to pick another instrument too.
I did. It's a fiddle.
Okay. Done.
Which I
So you have drums, flute, fiddle, ukulele.
Yes.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
They all burn.
Okay.
They all burn. No, the flute won't.
Flute would be interesting to burn,
Oh,
but
well, it will.
like, where
Not
is
a
she
pan flute.
keeping these?
In
Like,
her
I
event pack.
literally see that like she's like a walking one-person band right now.
Oh, it's
like,
it's
like from the Pixar short there.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking like from Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
The drum and the horn.
Same idea, yeah.
Yeah, same idea as that. Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I would like to do while we are on the topic of Rosie is I would like you to roll a D100.
Oh gosh, I'm dead already. Yeah, look at those rolls.
All right. You also have in your inventory, and actually I can drag this in from the compendium. You also have something called a drift globe.
Oh, isn't
She
that just a
has-
light that floats
Yeah,
around
the light,
with me?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have that on your other character.
Yeah, I have it on my characters.
Okay, yeah. So you can choose, where you got this. And then I'll get you to do one more. I think D100. Let me just double check the table. Yeah, D100.
What did I get?
What the fuck is that?
Oh, that always bodes well.
I've actually never.
What is it?
Something that'll irritate people, I hope.
It's a dick of many things.
Excellent.
We're all doomed then.
Pick a card, any card.
Okay.
Oh,
You
dear.
also have an item. This is from Xanathar's Guide. Phil, do you have that
nice.
book?
Yep.
You have a hat of vermin.
Does it just spew
So
mice?
it has 3 charges. While holding the hat of vermin, you can use an action to expend one of those charges, and you speak a command word, and it summons your choice of a bat, a frog, or a rat. The summoned creature magically appears inside the hat and immediately attempts to get away from you as fast as possible.
Well,
It is neither friendly or hostile. It is not under your control, and it behaves as an ordinary creature of its kind.
and it works for being a performer.
Let me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Exactly.
Works-
Except it's
works
not a
well.
rabbit.
Can it be a fedora?
You
It can be whatever you
describe
want.
whatever kind of hat you want.
Oh, I kind of want it to be a fedora with a stupid big feather, and I'm gonna wear it.
Not a bowler?
That's getting burned.
No,
Not a conductor's hat?
no.
I mean, your character icon has a hat with a big feather on it, so
Yeah,
Not a
that's,
Stetson.
that's why when I found it, I'm like, it's perfect because I want a stupid big feather. I'm calling it macaroni as well,
Oh, great.
all right,
as I wrote a song about it.
perfect.
That's racist.
You're racist.
So Navik, is this? Are you copacetic to this, or is this happening?
You mean is this happening as in she's joining?
Yeah.
Come on, friends. I want to go to real adventure. Can I go on a real adventure? I promise to be helpful. I'm really, really helpful.
Yeah, sure.
Bree
did you
looks
hear
over at
that?
Navik and she goes,
This is gonna be so much fun. I get to go on a real adventure. This is gonna be awesome. I have so many stories when I
I
get back.
pick up my mug again and just.
I can have
Keep
someone
in
to play the
mind-
flute with.
Okay, keep in mind, I was drinking before you guys came as well. So,
That doesn't stop. That doesn't mean anything. I'm still gonna get you to binge.
yeah, no, I'm probably
At
gonna
least-
vomit.
At least till you pass out and are nice and quiet.
Oh, I probably talk in my sleep too. Oh, I sing in my sleep. Even better.
so at the table, Caleb has now sort of shunted like a bunch of halflings sort of out of the way, and he's got this big map of the Crimson Basin laid out. And
An
he's
ale.
Like, yeah, he's just like
ale.
And ale.
he's got like a protractor out, and he's like measuring distances. So do you want to sort of talk strategy?
I have a question about do we all start in where the circles are? Or do we start right in
there,
the middle?
Right in the middle.
Yeah, you start right in the middle. So all of those circles will be sort of stacked on top of each other to begin.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I figured as much, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And is
and-
it everybody goes at once.
Everybody goes. So we'll roll initiative, and then
Okay.
we'll move each token as we go.
How,
I will be choosing where they're going with dice rolls. However, those dice rolls are weighted towards the clan sort of themes. So you can probably be assured that Slaughter Peak are going for weapons first,
Mhm.
but it's not guaranteed. It's like a 60% chance.
how will initiative be based for us? Like, is it a group average, or will you be rolling for us for one?
That's a good question, and I'm open to sort of discussion on that. We can just make it an even playing field and just do flat d20s. But if you feel like your group makeup brings something unique to traversing the basin, we can certainly consider that.
Well, we don't have the terrain anymore for Mountain.
That's
What?
true. You don't have dices anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whatever.
We have a bard. We downgraded.
Oh.
She does silos,
Oh.
right? She does that silos thing, which is an EverQuest joke. Never mind.
No.
I don't
It's
remember
the,
that.
It's the speed song. The speed song.
Oh.
For the bards.
Isn't that Spirit of the Wolf?
That was the druid spell.
Oh, okay. That's
No, that
that's
was,
all it was called. The
Sow.
shaman.
Sow
Wasn't
and
Spare the
silos.
Wolf the shaman spell?
Yeah, the shaman spell. But that's what everybody basically called it.
Hmm.
Anyways, the wrong game.
Moving on.
Yeah, we don't have a shaman.
We do not.
You got a bard.
It's sort
Anyway.
of like a shaman.
If you squint.
Yeah.
That's
All
a
right.
druid
All right.
spell.
So Caleb is suggesting two options: pushing towards weapons or pushing towards clothing.
Yeah.
I kind of like the clothing, shelter, weapons going southwest.
Hey guys, I can make shelter.
So we don't have to. We don't have to worry about food.
Hmm.
At
mean-
least not right at the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, when we start with nothing, right? Or we start
Mhm.
with something.
Sort of like a little layer of clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we all start in like a night dress, like an old-fashioned, like even the guys? Everyone's just in like an old-fashioned.
No, I got the
nightdress.
little flap underwear because for my tail.
Oh yeah, you're pale.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think going that way would be good.
Yeah.
Southeast to get
That's the southwest.
southwest. Yep,
Southwest,
southwest
come
to get the clothing, shelter, then go get the tier 2
Weapons.
weapons.
Are we going to the tier 2 weapons, or are we going to the tier 1?
Oh, so go straight west to the tier 2s.
Tier 2 will take us 2 remnants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tier 2 is better than tier 1.
But wouldn't you assume other people would be going there too? Like everyone would go right to the better weapons?
Yeah.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, but we might get the clothing and shelter first, and then
True enough.
it
least we'll
could
be in
all work
pants.
out.
We soil something, at least we're wearing pants.
And depending on the makeup of the group, we do have some level of advantage magic.
Yeah. Just to what Rosie said when she said, "Hey, I can create shelter." I think I know what spell you're talking about. Does that require
Oh, I should,
components?
yeah.
That's a
It
component spell. Is
or
it
material, I should say?
Mordekainen's?
She wasn't part of.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
The-
It's Leo Munn's tiny hut.
There is a component, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
a small crystal bead.
Okay.
Well, you
so-
can hide one of those.
I was
You-
gonna say. I on a necklace. You guys are dirty. I was gonna.
Oh,
wear-
do I keep my necklace?
No.
Anything magical will be removed from it.
But that
Like he
wouldn't be
knows it's
magical.
magical.
It's a bead necklace.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I know it's magical?
You don't, but the seers will.
Oh, okay.
And we know, and we're kind of okay with that in a way. Because it was a session or two ago, I recognized what
Mhm.
finally.
So yeah, any material components that you can't manage to smuggle into your basic outfit would be found at a weapons location.
Hmm.
And I should mention that any spells that require components that cost money, so for instance for Revivify or something like that, will be found at a tier 2 weapons location.
Okay.
You expect us to not die, right?
The thing is, I can heal you guys though. I have Song of Rest, and I don't believe that costs anything. That's a racial.
Yeah.
Or a
Mhm.
class ability. So I can.
That's
heal.
a short rest and lets us have extra hit dice or something like that.
You get a D6, 1d6
Nice.
points
Cool.
per short rest
Cool,
or
cool.
Song of Rest.
I think they care about that quantum.
If it comes from your butt.
I'm not a bat, so
Well, if you have a baggie, you just where you put it is up to you.
Anyways, I'm good with what we have planned. I don't know if we want to plan the entire thing out because things are going to change. So
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well, I
things will
mean,
change pretty quick.
on the
because
fly.
yeah, and I'm sure along the way, just along this route here, we will probably run into somebody.
Oh yeah, probably.
So even if we just go like to here to there, just that is
Wow.
enough to pick up it. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when you just drag straight across holding Q, it doesn't go straight across and does that jagging thing.
yeah,
Well, I just use my right click button to.
Oh, that works too. Whatever. Ooh, I get right click. Yeah.
okay. So we're good to start then. How we want to do
Okay.
initiative?
So yeah, do you guys feel like you just want to start on a flat footing, or do you think that you can sort of convince me that your collective experiences deserve a bonus?
I mean, where they heard was a fucking Bremwick.
Bremwick's
Does that help
nothing.
you at the top of 26,000 feet?
We have
We're
a lot
friends with the Leviathan.
One of them, yeah.
more. There's more than one of those. Damn it.
Oh yeah.
I can work under stressful situations. I have like 30 siblings. So I have to deal with a lot of time management. You have to like structure things.
We are much more motivated to run ahead.
Actually, you know what? Since this is one of those things where it's like horn blows and it's just like everyone takes off, it may actually be worth putting this towards an athletics test, because you're basically all taking off in a direction and trying to get
Be there
somewhere
first.
first.
Yeah.
So
That's not good.
Well,
I got
fortunately, we're
legs.
all very strong in that regard.
I think
Totally.
what we'll do for initiative here is everyone's going to make an athletics check, but it's going to be
No.
modified by your constitution modifier, not your strength, because it's more of a stamina thing.
Oh, okay. I'm down with this.
Can I do acrobatics? Can I do backflips instead? I feel like she just do backflips all the way through.
And keep in mind that anyone that isn't Navik has disadvantage on this roll.
So if I'm
Well, I'm Navik.
proficient in athletics, but it's based on Constitution, do I still have my proficiency?
Yes.
'Kay.
You do.
Are we rolling now?
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
All right, so athletics, and then swap out the modifier.
Exactly.
Oh, I gotta roll 2. Damn.
So that's a
Pick one.
5. No, it's disadvantage.
Yeah, that's why I said I got an 18. I
Oh
don't
wow.
care.
Yeah, I got a 5.
I'll just do my Constitution saving throw since it's the same thing.
Yep, sure. As long as you're not like proficient in the save.
Well, I am proficient in the save. I'm proficient in
Oh, you're in both.
Athletics, yeah.
Gotcha.
So what am I rolling? I'm just rolling.
Whatever your
Uh,
athletics. No, your Constitution plus your proficiency. D20. So
Assuming you're proficient in.
if you're proficient in
Athletics.
athletics.
My athletics was a 0, so
No, that's why I want to do
No
acrobatics instead.
right.
So you're
Well, that's why
basically-
my Constitution is I just added 4 to my roll.
So in that
Yeah.
case, for Rosie, it will be a D20 plus your con modifier.
Yeah.
Twice.
It'd be like a 1.
You
have no
have to
con
roll
modifier.
again.
Yeah, roll again. There you go.
But it's a
I know.
disadvantage.
Yeah.
So it's that plus my con.
I'm assuming we couldn't start with Rosie on Navik's shoulder or back.
I totally saw. No, I totally heard about Bree doing this. That'd be really cool. Can I ride
It's,
on your
it's up to
shoulder?
Navik.
She
But
starts in front, and as Navik just takes off, she just grabs on and starts climbing.
I scale. That would be acrobatics.
Since I know that she's probably going to be slow, I can pick her up.
There you go.
yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Sweet.
Because she doesn't have any of her equipment on her. So what does she
Nope.
weigh? Like 30 pounds?
Yeah, soaking
Yeah,
wet.
I weigh nothing. I weigh.
She doesn't have any.
I weigh exact. I weigh 40 pounds.
I mean, musical instruments.
I don't
She has
have
nothing.
anything. I have nothing. I'm just wearing a shirt and pants and shoes.
What about my flute? Do I have my flute?
You don't.
I hope
Wherever
you
keep
do.
it.
If you don't, then are you now Navika?
Navika. Oh, your flute.
Uh,
Oh, your
my-
flute.
Musical flute.
Yeah, exactly.
He apparently
Uh,
enjoys having his flute played.
And Ithis, what? I didn't see your
Who
roll.
doesn't?
Sorry, hold on. I'm
Yeah,
dealing
no worries.
with something.
He's vomiting. Give him a minute.
No. I don't really.
And actually,
want,
I should mention that the high altitude thing. So you guys have spent at the time that the tournament begins, you guys have been at this altitude for about a week, which means you aren't at disadvantage on all skill rolls. Only ones that will be modified by con.
What
So
are we rolling here?
Athletics,
Gotcha. Okay.
but with your cons modifier, not your strength.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see.
Just roll a d20 and then
Yeah. I'm
Plus
gonna
your
do that.
con.
do your con. Yeah.
Okay, and one more.
Roll even higher. Vic,
Yeah.
one more.
Okay. Sorry. I'm dealing with very friends in very tough spots right now. Like, kind of scary actually, but
Do you need to go?
I don't know. Possibly, but
Alright.
I don't know.
If you-
I'm
if you
gonna
do
stay
that,
on
go.
for now.
All right. So I've got your team total, which I'm sure you're going to want to know is 69.
Nice.
I was waiting for it. Okay. So as you guys, you are on the day of the witnessing, you are brought via sort of a long procession to the Crimson Basin through the wilderness, and this wilderness seems completely untouched. Like, it's just like there's something about this place that feels primal. And as you sort of approach the starting grounds, you can see each of the tribes with their chosen their horde breaker nominees sort of prominent. Navik, your attire for this, while non-magical or unarmored, is going to be a little bit more elaborate than anyone else's. What does the horde breaker on the ceremonial day look like for Grand Mist?
Drunk.
No, I had a good sleep.
Like the Jackie Chan stuff.
Let's go with well, I can't say that. I was gonna say in
Just a
a nice
loincloth.
white bear cloak.
Oh my God! Yes.
Let's not go with that. I have a nice, like a beaded shirt. Like it's has bone beads and little colored stone beads as well.
Mhm.
Decorated into the tribe symbol
Sure.
on
Yeah.
my shirt, and on the back of the shirt as well.
Okay.
Oh, he spent the night bedazzling.
Yes,
Oh, I had one of those. Dazzler.
I see no problem with this. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay. And you can see the other sort of chosen stepping forward in their different attire. One of the things that I forgot to mention in that downtime when you guys are planning, one of the traditional things to do as a sort of an ally of a horde breaker is to commemorate that sort of honor in a very Goliath way, which is getting tattoos.
Matching tattoos.
So it's not mandatory, but it's common. So if
Done.
anybody would
Doing
like
it.
to get a tattoo to commemorate the Goliath witnessing trial,
Rosie does.
yeah,
What's
She'd
the
be first in
tattoo?
line. Oh God. She didn't ask
Uh,
that part.
so
Is
and
it
it's
like
a
the
completely
boobs or the two penis?
it's a completely sort of like an artistic expression on the user's part. So there is no mandatory sort of design. You can basically choose a design that means something to you.
What would Navik get?
A fluffy bunny. A chibi bunny. Going.
Or what do we call our, like, what it would be the image of our group? If we can go that route, maybe.
A
Fire.
flaming tree. Just a flaming tree.
That's actually probably about
That's
right.
pretty good.
That's really, yeah, fiery tree.
With the symbol of an elf
that's
underneath
canon.
it.
That's totally canon. Oh.
Well,
Maybe
he
a
was the
flaming
first
tree
one that
touches.
did it.
Yeah.
Flaming tree
Even
it is.
though I
then.
don't know this.
Well, Navik was present at that moment of his demise. So.
Yes, yes, he was.
Yeah, at the demise.
Yeah.
But
You saw it happen.
not the
He,
first
he
tree.
probably assumes it's a tribute to how Eduardo died, maybe. And not the fact that he hit every single tree on the way up.
Well, he was a wood elf, so the tree could symbolize wood.
We're
and
dishonoring
him
his
being
death
on
of
fire.
explosion and fire.
Yes, that's why we're doing that. Yes.
Exactly.
Never mind the crime boss thing where we're like, yeah, we could just set this on fire.
Yeah.
In the middle
And
of the
I'm
sewers.
assuming I don't want to speak for you, Vic, but I'm assuming that Ithis won't let anybody tattoo him.
Yeah, no.
But
How
Ithis
does it
can
work on
certainly
feathers?
prepare.
It doesn't work on feathers.
I think
We
I
shave
think
it.
likely what would happen is they would pluck an area in, sort of like, you know, if
Oh.
a guy gets his calf shaved before getting a tattoo, it would be
Ow.
similar to that.
Fucking is
Tattoo
not
your
the
talon.
same.
We could.
Or
we
yeah,
could,
you
like,
can do it on your beak.
I was gonna say we
Oh.
like do like a wood burn approach on your beak.
Anna.
No, that would. Okay,
You could temporarily dye the feathers
fine.
into a pattern. They would just fall out eventually, but
We're
We
doing
could do
a
it
burning
while he
tree.
was drunk and asleep.
I'll go with a burning tree. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Where are you getting it?
Probably.
The tattoo
on-
parlor.
That, yeah.
Yeah, go.
Like across your back or on
No,
a
it's not that
shoulder,
big. Jeez.
on your neck.
Probably on like the upper part of the arm, close to the shoulder.
Yeah. Is anyone getting a face tattoo?
No.
We're not barbarians here.
I thought
Well,
Rosie would
not
be
all
all
of
over
us.
that.
Not quite. Not quite.
All right, cool.
Is she getting a burning tree as well?
Yes. She's not gonna
Okay.
ask questions. She's just gonna do it.
Supposed to be part of the group.
She's a trooper.
Apparently.
She's known you for 3 days and she's already getting a tattoo.
She's very gung ho.
Yeah.
Well, now she knows what she needs to draw.
So I'll get one, but it'll be on the sort of the opposite end of my arm from the tattoo I already have.
Okay.
You have a tattoo?
Dude, you don't see the pictures?
Oh, that thing, yeah.
That thing.
It's actually Minchinos and Elvish, the artist.
I think you remember that.
that was
yeah.
the artist's freedom there. Like, all right, fine. That's totally something he would do.
Well, I can show you what her tattoo is gonna be.
How much did that cost, by the way? I'm curious.
It was like $60.
Oh, okay.
US.
You're rich for my blood.
You might be able to talk him down.
It's still in U.S., so my Monopoly money won't work.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
All right, that's the tattoo she's getting on her arm.
Tattoo.
I put it
Damn.
in, chat.
I
Oh.
can't see it.
I kind of like the cutting too. That's pretty cool.
That's the here. I'll put it in the other chat as well.
Oh, don't worry about it. I can look at it later.
All right, so on the day, so you've adorned yourselves, you've sort of bought into the cultural sort of traditions of the Goliaths of the Godspurs. You arrive here on this crystal clear morning. The sun has just barely started to creep over the horizon, and it's cold, mostly because you are not wearing the correct attire. And one of the elders, or really one of the elders from every single clan, sort of take the center of this circle of tribes, and each of the chosen are brought towards the council. So Navik, you are sort of standing side by side with each of these, and at the moment you are standing sort of shoulder to shoulder with the Horde Bringer from Splinter Pine.
Thunderclap.
And he kind of like, he just kind of looks over at you and he's like, "You're so fucking dead."
Only on the
Not
inside.
if you go first.
He just kind of goes, and he kind of goes back to listening to the elders who are kind of going on about various things.
So I'm going to stage whisper to Navik, "Who's the big virgin?"
Rosie's just gonna giggle.
So the council sort of speak in sort of
School.
unison. They are speaking in Giant.
I speak giant.
Okay. So Rosie and Navik are the only ones that sort of understand the words that are being spoken at the sort of the ending crescendo of this trial, and they sort of speak together and they say, "All ye who carve life out of rock and ice, all ye who look down upon the soft lands below, all ye who hold the spirit of Terra and Avali as their shield, bear witness. The spirits have convened with the elders of the 6 tribes of the Godspurs and have named their champions. There can only be one chosen of all the Goliath hordes, and so we convene here in the Crimson Basin beneath Terra's fang, and we await our chosen to break the others until only they remain. As prophecy dictates, this chosen, this horde breaker, will then ascend Terra's fang and be subjected to the final test. The chosen does not act alone, however. As prophecy dictates, he or she will ascend the fang with allies, all of whom will die in service to the chosen.
Hey, what?
Champions."
Damn it, I don't know this. I
Nope.
can't tell this.
Rosie does.
They say, "Champions, please name your sacrifices."
I'll look at Rosie and be like,
and
Well,
Frog.
are there like torches, like a ring of torches type of thing, or going around? What's the?
there could be, depending on what you want to do with them.
Because while this is going on, control flame is somatic,
Mhm.
is only. So I'm under my breath. I'm gonna have them spell out "Splinter Pine are pussies." Like there's a little scrolling thing.
Hardcore, yo!
In common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure.
All right. So Navik, you are asked by the elders, and they sort of go down the line, each tribe sort of naming the allies they are sort of bringing with them, and it comes to you. Who are your sacrifices?
I'm gonna, when this is going on, I'm scooting over next to Caleb and I guess Minchino's, and I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder and translate what was said. I'm like, "I don't know if you guys knew this part. I didn't know this part. I figured I would tell you." As I smile, like, "By the way, I hope this is okay." So yeah, I've told the two of you what was said.
I'm just looking at Navik now.
By the way.
I say my comrades are Ithis of Avali, Minchinos, the fire sorcerer, Caleb, the just, Rosie,
Just Caleb.
Rosie, the new girl.
Rosie the half.
I just got here. Hi.
Rosie, the short.
Nice.
That's racist.
Sizest.
And the speakers sort of raise their arms and they say, and so it begins, the witnessing of the God Spurs. Remember, declare when you are broken. Do not allow yourselves to burn. And there's
Or burning is good. No, burning is fine. You guys can burn.
I'm still translating all this, so yes, you two would know what's going on. With that
there
super
is
girl,
sort of, I guess, like ethereal versions of all of the spirit animals that will be out here sort of are released from this circle. And you see sort of like a bear and a leopard and an eagle, sort of like an elk, sort of take off into the sky and sort of scatter to the winds. And the elders sort of separate, and a horn blares, and the witnessing begins. And I think we'll call it there.
Okay.
Aw.
dun dun
Yeah, that sounds
dun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Before we go, though, I just want, if we can get this done in 10 minutes, I
Sure.
would like to sort of roll back to what we were talking about earlier, where I'd like to revisit everyone's sort of character story. If you have to go now, that's completely okay. We can sort of catch up next session as well.
Vic,
Yep, we're good.
You're mute.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
That's fine? Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I just want to go sort of a round table, and I just want to revisit the character from your perspective and maybe get some feedback from the other players in how they see their character's relationship with that player. So why don't we start with Vic, actually? So we know we actually got a fairly good glimpse into some backstory for Ithis tonight. But tell me, sort of nowadays, after sort of the travel up this mountain, what does Ithis look like these days?
Hold on.
Mhm.
He's very haggard, but he's got yellow feathers with blue ends. He wears ornate clothing, although he's covered up for this, so it's not
Mhm.
as ornate. He tries his best to look nice.
really drifting from yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally nothing like you.
Maybe
Well,
King's
the order
father.
kind of had him like dress nice all the time for ceremony stuff. So
Mhm.
he's kind of used to that.
And what is so we know that Ithis is sort of seeking out sort of an answer to this sort of possessing entity within him, and we the players know that he found one of these pieces surprisingly from one of the Leviathans here, and this seems to have satisfied the entity which had been sort of sapping your strength. And since coming into ownership of this quill, you have actually sort of youthened a little bit, like you seem like a little less hunched over. What is Ithis's sort of main objective in light of this?
Well, I'll be honest, with the backstory that you've now heard, he really just kind of wants to have these friends in the party, because he never really did true ones. And he's kind of just traveling with them to travel with them now, less than Lee or whatever else.
Yeah, and I think since acquiring the quill, the sort of pull to like go somewhere has relaxed. So you kind of feel. I think Ithis probably feels like a little bit more free and less burdened than he probably has in maybe forever.
Yeah, he does.
Which I like. I like the sort of him sort of relaxing and having a drink, although begrudgingly, as sort of indicative of that kind of change.
Yeah.
With the mountain milk.
Yep.
Okay, and then and one last thing, in Ithis's mind, does he think that this group will help him achieve or progress his sort of goals, whether it be for friendship or if this pull comes back, does he think that these people will follow him in pursuit of that?
Yes. So he had plans. He was planning to go back with the Shard of Avali,
Mhm.
but now he's not sure.
Right, out of fear, or does he think that
Fear, and also he doesn't want to abandon these people.
Right, gotcha. So from the group's perspective, I know Rosie is sort of new on the scene, so she may not have sort of detailed impressions of Ithis, but like I know that Minchinos has sort of attempted to sort of squirrel himself into the good graces of Ithis on occasion. What is the sort of general perception of Ithis in the eyes of the other characters?
Shut in.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird bird person.
Do you is it like does it still feel as though Ithis is a stranger traveling with you, or has Ithis sort of earned sort of the right to sort of be by your side and basically often sort of watching over you in guard as you rest at night? Like, is there a trust developing there?
There is a trust developing. I wouldn't say it's full yet, but I'd say that it is coming along.
Yeah, I would say it's the trust is, I guess, different than say with I guess all of our trust in my mind is unique. With Ithis, it's more about he has something much darker, much more personal that he's looking to us in terms of help. So we trust him, he trusts us in the fact that we're kind of helping him along in his whatever his pilgrimage in a sense would be, kind of bring out this darkness, remove this darkness on his past, his soul, his mind.
Yeah. Cool. All right, thanks, Vic.
You're welcome. And also, I want to say I haven't been playing him how I like.
Well,
I'm trying to figure out how to play him. He's a bit more of a complex character than I'm used to, so I'm trying to figure it out still. So you'll see.
Yeah,
eventually.
I mean, evolving your character over time is perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do, and what I've kind of been doing already.
I feel like every time you're with us, I get a better sense of who Ithis is. So you're doing great.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Caleb. What does Caleb look like these days?
Probably starting to gray. Still called, bushy beard and hairy. To the failed attempts of Minchinos trying to burn it off. Definitely has a lot going on. He's a lot more distracted, not necessarily by the visual aspects, especially from like the climb of the mountain, the encounters we've gone through in that, but more on what's going on elsewhere. In in terms of physically, he looks really no different than how he was before. Still holds himself up as high as he can get. Still, putting everything into defending his group, into pushing whatever support is needed to get, his friends through whatever they're trying to get through. So for Navik, it's this witnessing, it's this horde breaker thing. And again, all the while still questioning, still wondering what's happening, how to proceed with what's going on elsewhere.
Yeah, and so obviously, a big pressing problem or desire of Caleb is the idea that Odin is dead.
Yeah.
And there are people in the world that have sort of seen past the lies of Tyr, who has sort of just taken over, brainwashed basically anyone who has ever heard the name Odin before. But Caleb has found people who have resisted that veil. So how does Caleb feel like? Is there concern that like going on these sort of adventures into the mountains are a distraction, or does he think does he believe like helping Navik sort of achieve what he needs to will bring a stronger ally to the cause?
He feels that this, he feels that this will be hopefully helpful in terms of building the trust, the bond needed, because he feels some of the actions that he will need to do will bring a lot of questions.
Gotcha. So you think that you're almost trying to like preemptively save face for some
in a sense, yeah.
Cool. Is there anyone in the group that in particular that you have that you feel like you have developed a stronger relationship with, or is Caleb still sort of like keep people at arm's length?
Depends on the relationship type, I guess. Like with Navik, I feel I can trust him in terms of protection, in terms of keeping me alive for when I do stupid shit. With Chinos, it's more of building up my strength, building up my I guess strength and defensives, in terms of him always A, trying to kill me, and B, getting a what's the word, I guess trying to kick me while I'm down whenever he can.
So do you feel like Minchinos is almost like to Caleb, is he like a check? Like does he sort of keep you on your toes? And like what a soldier like Caleb's history has, like do you need that kind of thing so that you don't sort of get too comfortable?
The real questions.
Yeah, these are like thought-provoking questions. I wouldn't say that he's the check I need. I will say he's definitely the opposite I might need, but with dark consequences. I feel that as much as he pokes and prods and jokes, with the happenstance we had in the Slod, I guess, hatchery or whatever it was, where he fully agreed and fully helped basically burn the entire place down, people and all. That can, especially with what's possibly coming up in Caleb's life, could definitely turn to a darker side.
All right, cool. Let's go to Minchinos then. I think one of the things about Minchinos that I think stands out is the aesthetics. So we can talk about what you look like these days, but I think your elaborate cold weather clothing and things like that. You're fairly still sort of well attired and presented, but is there anything about his mannerisms that has changed over time?
So in general, he tends to actually be a little quieter when there isn't an outside audience, and he does things more to try and lighten his, whether it be through pranks or trying to do nice things on the side for. There's still a lot about Minchinos that nobody in the party knows and really understands, sort of as part of his motivation of doing things. But it's funny you mentioned the prison in Bremwick. That definitely is weighing very. If you remember, after that happened, he kind of went on a bender and was like drunk for 3 days. That he and also some of the other. I mean, the main reason he said, "Yeah, let's go up to the mountains," was as a distraction away from some of that and the stuff we found out in the Institute. That I don't think the party, as in general, really understands either. But then the meeting up with the warlock in whatever that town was.
In Adiaco.
Adiaco, thank you. From there, it's gotten he's gotten a little weirder as he's reflecting upon the potential changes, the changes in his power, and trying to figure more out about it, which was his original purpose for going out on the road anyway. And Ithis is weird because part of me is the old pre-Minchinos he's sort of a noble that is a good target for the swindling and things. But at the same time, a little bit of corruption, and feels like he needs to get a friend and sort of make himself feel a little better about the things that he's had to do and what he has to do. So a lot of what he's doing, a cover of that, but it's much more subdued.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, because we've again, I mentioned this earlier, but we often have a tendency to keep sort of character motivations to ourselves, but as a result, a lot of times the players themselves don't get access to that too.
Right.
From a player
perspective, there's a reason why keeps a lot of that away from everybody, and the information is not around.
Right. I'm just curious from a player perspective. Does anyone feel like they have a good grasp on what's happening with Minchinos?
No
idea.
So that's something that I'd like to rectify, and we don't have to we don't have to like spill all the secrets, but we've delivered a lot of Minchinos' story has sort of come out in the roleplay and has been seen by the players, but I feel like it would be valuable for us to sort of connect those dots a little bit for the players' sake.
As out of character.
Exactly.
Yeah, player knowledge. Yeah.
Oh, I won't send everybody the novel.
Cole's
oddly enough, I write long backstories.
Yeah, I know.
But
it isn't quite as good as Felurall.
Something along the lines of like when we did our sort of synopsis on the relationship with. Obviously, you guys have heard the name Nerul thrown around,
right?
And maybe Thyrius has sort of hit your ears at some point.
So Minchinos' original name, he grew up in Ramodna, and his original name was Aprape Thyrius. He's from the Thyrius family, merchants, and he wanted nothing to do with the family business, so kind of hooked up with some friends in the Thieves Guild and learned how to be a con man.
Nice.
And he really has a thing for people in power and wealth that exploit middle class and lower class people That's as his family is part tiefling. They caught a lot of that crap. So that's his thing about swindling people, or like the bit on the mountains was he deliberately sought out somebody that was kind of meek to build them up, but also at the same time ultimately make the chieftain look stupid with the ring.
With the yak folk.
Yeah, with the yak folk.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit afraid of the fire, especially after Dysis's transformation, because that he's worried that Nerul wants him to become a warlock. But he's more interested in becoming more dragon side of his heritage. Kind of really enjoys it, and he really does enjoy putting on the shows. He wants to be the center of the attention, but then finding out about Lucius Thyreus and Nerul, he's got a lot of shit going on in his head.
Yeah. So again,
also, he really, really is at some point in time probably going to legitimately try and kill Caleb, because he holds he holds grudges forever. Like once trust is there, it's inviolate. But when Caleb was going to kill him,
you were going to kill us,
Bremwick, he remembers it clearly and holds a very serious grudge on that. And it will take time, but the opportunity will arise, and he will try and kill Caleb.
You had the party in danger.
Aw, it's the cutest bromance ever.
When did you try to kill him?
He had the ring, which was controlling him, and it was putting the group in danger. He wasn't necessarily killing us at that time, but there was a extreme chance that he could have.
Right.
That was when Navik sort of held Minchinos up by the ankle. And
yes, and shook
shook
up all
I
his
remember that.
money.
Right. And that wasn't the problem. It was Caleb was legitimately going to try and kill him. And circumstances be damned, he doesn't take well to that, and he holds a grudge.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
think I do remember this.
Good times, good times.
Wonderful.
So, you know that obviously that's not like a, it's not like a weekend thing. You don't come back with the keys to the atomic bomb and then just take over everything. And it's like you come back down, then the process of uniting the tribes will likely begin over the course of maybe a decade, maybe less, depending on where the leadership is coming from and what the power even is. Nobody knows because nobody's ever returned. And then in the future, once the Goliaths have sort of united and have formed a strong, a single group, then they will basically take over the lands of men. Known to them as the soft lands.
They're so soft.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would do after that. I don't know. Depending on the power that is invested to me, I might stay up there and continue working with the clans to, eventually conquer the softlands.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that may be part of the that may be part of the desire and the drive to be the sort of horde breaker in Goliath society, because it is an unknown. Nobody knows what this thing is. They just know that the elders have said that it's there for the last eon. So there's I feel like there's a mixed 2 parts like mystery and 3 parts fear.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So I might be making a new character if you do something.
That would be perfect timing. There's it would poor Caleb, because he's like, well, shit.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet, so
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, last question is, I just want to know from Navik's perspective. I feel like Navik operates in a sort of. I feel like Navik is sort of the linchpin of the group. He's sort of to me, he's the most stable in terms of emotional.
Probably.
Sort of. But
it does seem that way.
I don't feel like anybody in the party resents Navik in any way or has ever had any serious problems with Navik.
No, in fact, Minchino's, I think, out of everybody, probably Navik is the one that he has the most trust in, because he feels he's genuine, and he was, probably started to get closer to Dices as another nun. Then the whole warlock thing happened, and that kind of freaked him the hell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rosie thinks you're awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do think Navik is one of the more stable people in the group.
Which is funny how that turned out.
Yeah.
Is he? Is he?
Yeah, no, it probably is. No, really, yeah. No.
I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't feel like, aside from the fact that you're going to drag all your friends up a mountain to potentially die,
To their death.
I don't think there are any other deep brooding secrets in Navik's story.
And that's not a secret. I translated that so everybody knows. It's not a secret.
And don't worry, we're gonna have some words.
Yeah.
Well, if it goes bad up there, I die too. So
We'll die as a family.
If it goes well up there, we still die.
Yep.
You don't
There is
know
that,
that. We don't know that.
That's kind of what sacrifices mean.
I didn't say sacrifices. I said companions.
They said sacrifices, and she translated.
I said companion.
Maybe her giant isn't great. Some words don't make it in the translation.
I studied pretty good, but it's not perfect.
Sure.
This is why we're bringing the bard.
Here we go.
Stabilizing influence is the bar.
Guys,
No,
it was
she's
fun.
the
I really need to
sacrifice.
go.
Nope,
Good
no problem.
night.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much.
Vic.
Good night, guys.
Vic
Thank
is
you.
Right.
Vic. Vic, if is it okay or?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk to you about it, but
All right, I'll be up in a couple minutes.
This is going to
Okay,
ruin
thank
the
you, guys.
video feed.
yeah, I'm sorry. I ruined the stream. I know.
That's fine.
Oh well.
Good job. Proud of you.
Yep. Thanks,
Take
guys.
it
I'll
easy,
see you
Vic.
soon.
Night.
Dun dun dun.
Green giant.
All right, cool. I'm satisfied. I just wanted to sort of touch base
Ah!
on everyone's.
Ah, that stream broke.
I just disabled the videos because it's going to break it.
Yep.
No.
Broken stream.
No, it was good when it lasted.
Yeah, so I'm going to send you a whole bunch of other stuff, Ash, if you can have a look at any questions I send your way. They may come
Yes,
in
of course.
sporadically, just to get a better sense of sort of where we can add in stuff for Rosie in particular. Cool.
And if anybody's curious, I did drop the text file into Discord channel. So
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, this may not be a thing, but if there was one character that we talked about tonight that you, Ashley, think it would be neat to have a sort of a storyline tied to, who would it be?
Oh. I think it'd be cool to have something tied with Manchinos.
Cool.
She
no,
is
that
your
sounds great.
she is your light in the darkness.
No, that could manifest itself in a lot of ways. Like maybe
Yeah.
it's possible that as a bard and a keeper of stories, because you are a lore college, right?
Yeah.
There could be all kinds of important information that Rosie has locked away in that big blonde head of hers.
She's smart.
That could be useful to Minchinos. So yeah,
And
there's
she may al-
definitely some.
Fair.
Yeah.
Useful.
Because
as
keep
well.
in mind, Rosie may act like over the top, but keep in mind she is very smart.
Right.
She just hasn't a chance to show that off yet. Right now, you've just met this overly eager kid,
Yep.
which is fun to play. Really fun to play.
Yeah, I'm excited to sort of build around Rosie a little bit. I think that's all I got. Thanks very much for
Awesome.
sticking around and answering those questions for me. It's really helpful.
Thanks.
Cool.
Good,
Mhm.
guys. Good
Blah,
job,
blah,
guys.
blah, blah.
Yeah. good, good.
Well, thanks everybody. We will be back Friday next week, 9 o'clock Eastern, same time as always, unless anything comes up. Have a good night.